Hello, my name is Melissa Daniels, and this is Strabismus to Stereopsis, a channel where we talk all about everything to do with strabismus, lazy eye, amblyopia, squint, whatever you call it, and whatever your version of the struggle is. I have so many resources here to help you through the journey. Most of what I offer is going to be help with the physical problem of strabismus, but today's video is going to have a little bit of a different flavor. I'm going to go into some of my religious beliefs and how they have impacted my strabismus journey. So before we get into that, make sure you go over to learn.strabismussolutions.com. There you can book a Zoom call, take one of my courses, do the quiz, figure out where you should start on your strabismus journey, and a whole bunch more. I generally don't share much about religion, my religious beliefs, God, Jesus, all of those things, because I feel like it's personal and the whole world doesn't need to hear that. And honestly, there's always that little fear that people are going to not like it or disagree, and I don't want to create any argument in this space. But I also get people like, well, how did you get through those hard parts? And I'm like, well, I just did it. And really, it was not that I just did it. It's that God helped me and pulled me through those parts. And so I wanted to share that part for those who are interested, because I know so many of you also have that reliance. And so I wanted to share my version of how I have relied on God to help me through these last 6 years of my life that have been some of the most challenging and rewarding years of my life. So the first thing that has been so impactful is just being able to pray and listen for that Holy Spirit to give guidance and direction on what to do. There's so many parts of this journey where it's like, do I do this or do I do this? Do I trust this doctor? Do I believe them? There's so many unknowns, and I don't know what's right. And I remember one time praying and just being like, what am I supposed to do? Who do I trust? And I just had this thought, God is the master healer. He is the physician. He is the great physician, right? Of our souls, but also he made my eyeballs. So he definitely knows how to fix them and what needs to be done. And so I just, from that moment on, it's okay, I'm going to do it God's way. And not that it's the same for everyone, but for me, he knows what's going to be exactly right for Melissa Daniels, right? What works for me is different than what would work for someone else. But just knowing that and feeling that trust, that was a big turning point. And so for me, there were just little tips, little people would appear in my life. Someone online would see a post that I did on Instagram and be like, hey, I see that you're doing this exercise with your doctor. I think you should actually be doing this. And they would give me these huge things. I'm like, where in the world did that come from? And then we would try it and it would totally work. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is a miracle. This is God's hand in my life. This is how he's giving direction, not only to me, but to the doctor, and my doctor going to a class and having things pop into his head, and then we would try them, right? So there were so many instances where there was just random people would show up, and I don't believe it was random. I believe that was God guiding my journey with different things that happened throughout the process. So that to me is just, are so many unknowns, and you can talk to me on Zoom. You can talk to your doctors, right? You can do all these things and you're still not going to know for sure. There's still no guarantees. But I feel like God is the one who can really help you. And even if things don't work out perfectly, which they haven't in my case, knowing he's got me, this is all going to work out. Okay, so that's the first kind of area where I feel like God has been so impactful, is just that direction of where to go next, what to try next, who to trust, that kind of thing. The second huge area is just comfort and understanding. There are so many parts of strabismus that 99% of the world just doesn't get. Especially now that my eyes look pretty straight, no one would ever guess that I'm having any struggles with my vision. People who know eyes, but somebody on the street isn't going to notice my eye turn or that I've got something going on. Or if someone has really severe double vision and they're nauseous and sick, but they look fine, their eyes look fine. Or, it's oh, it's an eye turn. How does that really affect, right? People just don't understand it. I hear from so many people, spouses don't get why you would invest thousands and thousands of dollars. ah, you're fine. You're fine. Like that's what people get told so often. Like, no, you're as good as it's going to get and that's good enough. And then you are sitting there like, no, I'm not fine, right? And so that can be so difficult to feel like no one understands because really most people really don't get it. And again, God gets it. You can feel that comfort, like he understands what you're going through. He knows your heart and he can be there to like really comfort. Like I just have felt that comfort. Like I get this. This is hard and you can do it. Like knowing like I'm not crazy. Sometimes I'm like, am I crazy? Am I just being a victim and like making crap up to make myself like, I don't know. Sometimes I get into my head about that. Like, do I really have a problem or am I just over exaggerating this? And sometimes just knowing like, no, you're okay. Everyone doesn't have to get it. And knowing that like, okay, it's okay, husband. It's okay, kids. It's okay, friends. Like, you don't have to get it. I get it. God gets it. Like, it's okay. And so just always feeling like I've got someone in my corner who isn't judging me or isn't like thinking I'm crazy, but just understands, and not only understands, but is like, you've got this, like you can do it. And just having that cheerleader. So how is that like come, like for me, it's even just knowing, it's not like, oh, he's speaking to me or something, but just knowing like someone gets it. And that is a lot of times enough. And then the third area, like that just I need so much is the peace. Peace in uncertainty. After my strabismus surgery a couple years ago, the result wasn't what I had thought. And I had felt such a strong impression that I needed to have strabismus surgery. And that had come in like maybe like April of 2020. This was like kind of during COVID times. And I went to my doctor who does the vision therapy and I said, well, God told me I'm going to have surgery. And he looked at me like, and I was like, I know, like it's weird, but it was like this, I don't know that I heard a voice, but I just like felt so strongly like surgery is part of your journey. I'll let you know when. And it was so clear because I was so against surgery. I was like, I am going to be like Sue Berry. I will never get surgery. And so I was like brokenhearted about it. I was like, no, I don't want surgery. But I just knew so strongly like surgery is part of your journey and that is what you need. And so I was just like, okay, when it happens, it happens. And so it was like 6 months later that I actually ended up getting the surgery. And it just kind of, things fell into place and it was like the right time, the right place. It all fell into place. And so I go and get this surgery and in my mind, I'm like, well, like I've done all this vision therapy and God told me to have surgery. So it's definitely going to be a success. And it wasn't. It was actually really bad for a while. The first week was horrible. You know, you can go watch all the surgery videos. I was a mess, like mentally, emotionally, physically, like all of it. And especially like the first couple days. Part of it, I do believe that part of it was that I was in a dark room by myself for several days and I just started kind of spiraling. And I thought he wanted me to do this. And I was feeling like it was just too hard. And you know, of course I'm praying like, what is going on? Please, like, make my eyes go straight. Like, why isn't this working? And just like begging, right? And I'm sure many of you have been in that position. I know that it's super common to feel that anxiety and stress after surgery, especially if it doesn't go as you thought it was going to go. I just remember, I think I was listening to a podcast or something, but I heard the words like, what if this is like the person doing the podcast wasn't talking about eye surgery. They're talking about something else, but she said, what if this is all orchestrated in your favor? And I just like felt this overwhelming peace that like that was true for me in this situation. Like this is all orchestrated in your favor. And that includes the mess. Like it includes that it wasn't a perfect surgery and that there was more work to be done. And now looking back, I can see how I could have never helped as many people as I've been able to help if I hadn't had that experience and could really understand what it's like to go through a strabismus surgery when it doesn't work out and learning how to make it work, make lemonade from the lemons, and that it ended up being actually so much better, and the surgery was a good thing. I just couldn't see it at that time. Anyways, that idea, like, this, what if this is all orchestrated in your favor? It brought me so much peace. Like, okay, God is up there, Jesus is up there, they are watching me, they've got my back, they know what I'm going through, they know what I'm experiencing, they're putting the right people and things into my life when I need them, and that is taking me to my higher purpose. Whatever that purpose is that is going to bring me the most joy, whether that's having eyes that are straight or not straight, whether it's having stereo vision that's perfect or not, like, it doesn't matter how it all turns out. This is the direction my life was supposed to go. And so I think having that more, like, that bigger perspective and knowing, like, God has a purpose for me. And if I keep praying and if I keep following those things that come into my mind and following those, like, tender mercies and the people that come into my life that help guide and direct me, like, if I keep doing that, that's going to take me to my higher purpose, which is so much more important and so much bigger than my eyes. But luckily, like, I also think he cares about me and cares that I can see this amazing world that he created in all of its glory, right? In that 3D, in a way that I could have never, I didn't see it like that before, and now I can, and it gives me, like, so much more appreciation for, like, the amazingness of this earth. I know that was probably a lot, and I know that not everyone believes the same way that I do, and I think that is something that is so beautiful about this world. And I've been able to meet so many of you in different countries that are not Christian countries that, believe in Allah or a different higher power, and, like, I love that, and I find that so beautiful. And to me, I think in my head, it's God and Jesus Christ that I believe in. And that's my higher power. That is where I find peace. But I believe that higher power, that person, comes in a lot of different shapes and forms to different people. And I love that so much. And so find whoever that is for you and trust in that. And give that faith to, like, the bigger picture, and that will change your entire journey. That'll give you so much peace that you could have never gotten had you not had it. Like, I can give you all the right steps, like, do this exercise and do this and that, but you will never, like, find that true lasting joy, happiness, peace until you can see that bigger picture. So there you go. There is all of the soapbox. I could go on and on and on about this. I'm curious, like, if you have things that have happened, I would love to hear about them in the comments, things that have been special to you in your journey that have made things easier, where God has seen you in your hard times. And if you want to talk more, you can always send me an email. And we will just see you in the next video.